stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have no guests tonight. 3.01, correspondence and public participation. This is a point in the meeting for comments on matters not already on the agenda. Comments on the agenda items will be accepted when that item comes up during the meeting. Interested persons may submit views in written form to the clerk or superintendent prior to the meeting, and those comments will be brought to the attention of the board during the meeting. Do we have any public participation?
I have a guest. Sean Samuelson is one of our brokers, and he'll be coming, so I forgot to tell you that.
Oh.
So we do have one guest.
Okay, perfect.
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Okay, we will move along. New business. 6.01.
Okay, I'd like to recommend Peyton Allen for CPS Tech Supervisor for the 25-26 school year. Just like to mention a couple things about Peyton. It's really kind of great to see, his experiences when it comes to supervising, evaluating staff, training staff, but in particular too, when it comes to he's Google IT certified. And also just working with technology and what he's responsible for at that level. You don't very often. It says something like, if the technology fails, lives are at risk. When you do what we do, of course, it's really serious too at our end with education. But to know that he was responsible for the technology where he works at that level, and plus with the surveillance that he's responsible for and the FERPA and all the right to privacies and just all the different things that he's done was really, I think, on one level interesting to me to see how intense that can be when you're working on those kinds of safety levels where he worked. Rosebud County, lead when it came to lead communications officers. So anyway, pretty impressed with that.
I move the Colstrip Public Schools Board of Trustees approve Peyton Allen as CPS Technology Supervisor for the 25-26 school year.
Second. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment? Any further board? Okay, Francis? Aye. Sabrina?
Aye.
Angie? Aye. Aye. Okay, 6.02.
All right, one more recommendation. I'd like to recommend the hire of Christine Bonet as the CHS Assistant Track Coach.
I move the Colstrip Public Schools Board of Trustees approves Christine Bonet as CHS Assistant Track Coach for the 25-26 school year.
Second. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment? Any further board? Francis? Aye. Sabrina?
Aye.
Angie? Aye. Aye. 6.03, health insurance renewal. Mrs. Allen, is this?
Yes. So we were able to squeeze in a meeting regarding insurance. As you guys know, there has been some talk about the Bridged Health Alliance Trust for all schools in Montana. The schools were really excited to get to hear the opportunity and to have this available. So we started the process, they needed more things. The deadline passed. They then opened back up the deadline. And so we ended up really having to scramble and get everything to them. And then they were still willing to wait for our unions to meet and for us to have a decision tonight. But whatever is voted on tonight and agreed to, if that were to be what everyone wanted to do, then they were willing to extend our deadline to tomorrow. So the favors have come back pretty favorable for the staff. If you notice, there has been a decrease, not huge, but there was a decrease nonetheless. And the increase for our current premium with EBMS is not yet given yet. So that doesn't come out until the first week of April. So although the numbers are favorable, they would be even more favorable unless we saw a decrease, which we haven't seen a decrease. So I don't believe that would be happening. We don't have the renewal for the voluntary life, group long-term disability as of yet. So that will come at another board meeting. They gave us a few different options for vision, and then for dental, they gave us a basic option and then a buy-up option. We did have some questions that maybe we carry both vision plans so that each employee had the option to join that buy-up plan. So that is something that I think will come up tonight. The Delta Dental, they're staying with kind of the same Delta, and then the VSP, or not, you guys had EBMS, but the VSP for vision. So we kind of went with the middle plan for dental. That's what you see the numbers for. If it's discussed tonight that other people, that the unions kind of felt like, there were other plans that their members wanted, we'll look at that too. Sean, I'm not sure if he joined on Zoom yet or not.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So he'll be here to help answer any questions that anyone has regarding the trust. There is kind of a 3-year lock-in. When you sign on for Bridge, you are locked in for 5 years with kind of a caveat that after 3 years, if it's kind of catastrophic to your school, you can back out. And then you cannot sign back on for 5 years. There's 209 schools that have joined, so that was really promising. We thought we would see a lot of people not join just because there are still a lot of unknowns. So to see 209 is pretty big, and they're covering over 16,000 lives. I know that the certified union has already voted and has agreed to pass it. The classified, I'm not sure yet, so.
We did do a vote today. I had 58% responded with votes, and it was 77% were to switch.
Oh, sweet.
Okay, good. That makes our job easier.
Right? And the certified had 41 votes for yes and 3 for no.
Oh, okay.
So it would be, my recommendation is kind of looking into this, that we switch as well, and hope for a really good outcome. I think everyone's really excited. So if there's any questions that you guys have for our broker too, like the union too, feel free to.
Are we okay to ask them right now?
Yeah. Sean, are you available?
I'm here.
Welcome. Thank you.
I don't know if I have to say Brandy Watson, but here we go. Okay, so we had, of course, the question from our union that came up about the vision piece, and we had the basic and the buy-up, and we wanted to know as a union if we'd have that option. I know Brittany kind of touched on that basic part of whether the district carried the basic, but people could opt for that extra. So that was definitely a question that we have. We did have questions, and I know I sent it to Brittany last week, and then we tried to push it out, and I wasn't sure if he had gotten a message back or information back. If the co-pays go towards the deductibles, then once you've hit those deductibles, do you still pay the co-pays at that point, or even the out-of-pocket maxes, or where are you at with that part? So I didn't know if there was an answer on that, but we had members last week ask on that as well.
Yeah, so on the out of pocket, once you hit the max out of pocket, your copays do go away.
Okay, all right. And then that kind of helps sort out, I think, most of that part, because we had a lot of questions in regards to that. And then I know we had other questions that I think one person, you'll ask your question maybe. You have still the question about the flex plan piece.
Oh yeah, does flex plan still count?
The flex plan is still part of it.
Flex would still be, yes, for the traditional plan, Flex is available, and if you wanted to use Flex on the high deductible, you could, but I always recommend a health savings account for the high deductible piece.
And then this is a personal question for, not the full union, but something I have because my gal is more complex. So we are, I think, probably overly established with our current insurance company. And we have to do all these like special hoops to jump through for specialty meds. Would we be able to transition smoothly with the company, or would we have to jump through all kinds of hoops to transition with those meds that are existing meds?
That's a great question. So, and this would apply for anyone. I would recommend if anyone is in your situation and you're on specialty medication, Brittany can give you my email address if you don't already have it. Just send me the details and we'll get it documented in the system so that we're not having to jump through all the hoops that you can jump through when you're dealing with specialty meds. So having a jump start on this will be really good and
Okay.
beneficial.
I was just thinking maybe if we had an idea, we could get doctors on board ahead of time, but.
Yeah,
But
and
because otherwise we're like sending in hand x-rays to prove that my daughter's not done growing. So she can get her growth hormone. So,
100%. I understand what you're saying. So if I have that listing, we can kind of fast track and get ahead of it.
Will you send me his email and then I can also push it out to members in case they have additional information?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, I think that is the main questions that came from our union on this, and thanks for your patience.
Yes,
I
thank you
called
guys.
me after school, like, here's what our vote is, so I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you.
Nicole, do you want to ask your question or do you want me to address it?
I do.
Okay, perfect.
Do I need to introduce myself?
Gotcha.
I need to know how to roll over FSA to HSA.
So with the flex plan, you're going to want to have your flex utilized before you, because I'm assuming that you do want to put money into an health savings account. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yes.
So the rules are that you need to exhaust your flex plan money before you can start putting money into a health savings account. So you can't roll them from one to the other.
And is this signing up July 1st?
Uh,
Or are we starting?
September 1st, right, Brittany?
Yes.
And I saw on the internet that says even though they allow us to put in receipts until December, do we need some sort of an official, I'm done and the bank account is zero and now we can proceed with HSA?
Yeah, the bank account just needs to be at zero. They don't need documentation from it because it's really, with a health savings account, you're kind of if you were ever audited from the IRS, they're going to look at all of those things. So you're kind of self-administering that. So as long as the account is zero, and I keep a copy of that, you're good to go.
And I heard September 1st is the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
And Brittany, if you could get that email to me as well.
Yep.
This email.
Will do.
Okay, thank you.
I had a question. It just went right past me. Oh, Sean, so the HSA and the flex. So EBMS before managed our flex. I manage the HSA. Is that gonna change?
So Allegiance is the administrator for Bridged, the Bridged Health Program. They can administer the flex as well. So you can keep it with EBMS if you wanted to stay and move it so it's succinct with Allegiance and Bridged. You can do that as well. It's going to be very comparable from a cost standpoint, but from a syncing of deductibles, co-insurance, co-pays, and getting reimbursement for those that are on the flex plan, it might be a smoother process through the Allegiance program.
Okay.
The HSA, we would continue to do what you're doing.
Okay. Sweet. Did we have any other questions? Thank you to the unions for scrambling and working hard to get that done on short notice, and I appreciate it. So, yeah. Excited.
So we have the health plan, we have the dental plan, and then we have a vision plan with an option to do a buy-up.
Yes. And did anyone have any opinions about the dental that we didn't choose the middle
I think
option?
the middle one was pretty comparable.
Yeah.
That's what
The
it seems.
standard plan seemed to be the right choice for what we currently.
Okay, perfect. So your motion may say, switch to bridged with the standard vision plan or dental plan and the standard and buy-up or basic and buy-up for vision.
Because dental says basic and standard, but we're going
Basic,
with the
standard, and enhanced, and vision is called, I thought it was basic and buy-up, but let me check the part.
Dental.
Vision. Yeah, your vision is your base plan and buy-up plan,
Okay,
is what the vision is, so.
and dental is standard.
It's like the middle plan.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, I move the Colstrip Public Schools Board of Trustees approves the Bridged Health Alliance insurance proposal for the health insurance, the standard dental insurance, also known as the middle plan, and the vision plan with the buy-up option for the 26-27 school year.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment? Any further board? Okay, Francis? Aye. Sabrina?
Aye.
Angie? Aye. Aye. Thank you guys very much.
thank you. Thank you, Sean.
Yep, thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, 6.04. Adoption of intent to impose levies. This is permissive levies.
Yes. Sorry, usually I pulled up ready. So we have one for elementary and one for the high school. I got a question today that was a little bit confusing because there's been a lot of talk about levies, and so people were a little confused of, are we running a levy or are we not? So these are not your normal levies that we run with the election. It's not a general fund levy. So these are just our permissive levies. So what I do is kind of take a look at where our finances are, where we're sitting now, and it's just a guess. This is just supposed to be an estimate. So this is not final. We do this every single year at this time of year. It uses our current taxable valuation as well, and that will change. The only thing you'll see on there is I did do tuition. So if you guys remember, I opened that fund because of we still have to pay out of district tuition for kids that are in our school district that end up choosing another school to go to, or Yellowstone Boys, Girls, and Ranch, those kind of things play into this. So I did put a very small portion into that so that if we do have to pay that can come out of the tuition fund. Because right now there's just there's zero in there. Technology fund, we're always, it's not an increase from what we levied before, so that's why you don't see an estimated in mills there or the impact on a home. So, and then the building reserve. So the building reserve, as you guys know, there's that state major maintenance aid. And if we give a certain amount, the state matches us, not match, but they give a certain amount. So I think it's 50% or 50,000 in the building reserve in the elementary. And so 30 is what the state, what we do. And then the state does 20%. So I think those are going to be really great for us going forward with the talks about middle school. I know last year the funds that we talked about, there's Capturing Kids' Heart. There was that guy that came in that did the safety intruder training for us. That's where those funds are going currently. And so, other than that, there isn't anything else that, the intent is to increase for those permissive levies, so.
I move the Colstrip School District 19 Board of Trustees adopt the resolution of intent to impose an increase in levies per 29-116 MCA for the Colstrip Elementary District for fiscal year 27 as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment? Any further board? Francis?
Aye.
Sabrina?
Aye.
Angie? Aye. 6.05. Same thing in the high school district.
I move the Colstrip School District 19 Board of Trustees adopt the resolution of intent to impose an increase in levies per 29-116 MCA for the Colstrip High School District for fiscal year 27 as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment? Any further board? Francis?
Aye.
Sabrina?
Aye.
Angie?
Aye.
Aye. 6.06, policy 1401.
All right, this one was brought to a former meeting. We discussed the records available to the public, updates from MTSBA policy 1401. So I'm asking you to accept the recommended changes.
I move the Colstrip School Board of Trustees approves the recommended changes for policy 1401, records available to public as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment? Any board? Francis?
Aye.
Sabrina?
Aye.
Angie?
Aye.
Aye. 6.07.
Okay, I did not bring this one. I would like this one to be accepted. I'm recommending it today without extra conversation, discussion. It's the FP14 forms. Would like to see those due back by the first Friday in April rather than the first Friday in March. We ran into some difficulties with district tournaments. We didn't have them last year. I know my first year, last year again was, the first year you did this was even later. It was June, so then it was March. We're kind of playing with the date to get it right.
Mhm.
And this would just give us the time that we think would work and give us more time not to have such a backlog in the central office, so.
Yeah, I think whatever works for you guys, because you're the one processing them. So.
Yep, that's the only change.
Okay.
That'll help us process and get everything done on time.
And would that be effective for this year then?
Yes.
So people would have until,
Yep,
first Friday in April for this year.
If you'd accept it
okay,
tonight.
so we
Okay,
need to put
thanks.
that on our website then, if it's, okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I move the Colstrip Public Schools Board of Trustees approves the policy recommended changes for policy 3141, non-resident enrollment as presented.
okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment? Any board? Francis?
Aye.
Sabrina?
Aye.
Angie?
Aye.
Aye. 6.08,
Okay, policy 3150 is the part-time enrollment policy recommendations from MTSBA that we discussed in our last meeting.
I move the Colstrip Public Schools Board of Trustees approves the recommended changes for policy 3150, part-time enrollment as presented.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment on this? Any further board? Francis?
Aye.
Sabrina?
Aye.
Angie?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 6.09, policy 3600.
All right, recommending that, again, we make the changes we discussed for consistency of this one with federal statutory requirements for Policy 3600, that's the student records recommendations as presented here.
I move the Colstrip School Board of Trustees approves the recommended changes to policy 3600 student records as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment on this? Any further board? Francis? Aye. Sabrina?
Aye.
Angie?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 6.10.
Okay. 6.10 is the procedure that goes with policy 3600. So recommending that we also adopt these recommended changes with the federal statutory requirements, compliance with them.
I move the Colstrip Public Schools Board of Trustees approves the recommended changes for policy 3600 P1 student records as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment on this? Any further board? Francis?
Aye.
Sabrina?
Aye.
Angie?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we'll go into our work session. We'll start with facilities. Robert, you're up.
Alright, so last week we worked on getting the concession stand and stadium cleared out for the summer's work. And also cleared out some of the items that were through the obsolete sale that didn't sell from the maintenance shop, from the middle shop. And then we put some windows in, like the band room doors, so there are windows in those doors. And then going through all of our grounds equipment, getting that ready for spring and summer. Looks like spring's gonna be the order. Other than that, just knocking out work orders when they come in and just getting ready for warmer weather.
The case reports, we had a little oopsie.
Yes.
I was wondering.
So if, I have a little handout for you. We'll pass those down so you guys at least have the report that didn't pull through correctly. And then I have extras if anyone wants one or anyone wants to take one with you, you may. Yes. Okay.
So this is just for the month, and usually don't we have a year-to-date on there too?
You do have the year, the year-to-date one was fine, it was just the other one kind of got titled a little funky and wrong.
I don't
one
see a
time.
year-to-date one on here.
My year-to-date is February's
Yeah.
Oh,
month today.
I don't think we noticed that one. Let me get it. So the year-to-date,
It's just the month of February.
okay, she must have thought they were backwards, so she printed the month one, again, it looks like, instead of the year-to-date, so, we can get that sent out to all you guys after the meeting. I probably have it in my email too somewhere. Let's see. That's
Robert, do you get more information on these than we see, or do you have to like ask the person what these mean? Like there's one that says like stool.
Yeah, they have a description in there.
Okay,
A lot of time that's just a header.
okay.
Oh, I see what the issue was. We got the year-to-date, came across as the year-to-date report, but it only showed February. So I don't really have the year-to-date one for the last month.
I already run that.
Okay.
Those dates get finicky. in
Okay.
Case reports. I have that set up as an automated report, but obviously the automated report.
Yeah, that one
Get the
just
right
was
date.
kind of funny. Okay. So we will get that to you guys.
Okay,
That's good.
do you guys have anything else with facilities? Okay. All right. Athletic activities and transportation, Mr. Slater.
I'd like to say that Robert and his crew, when he went out to the stadium and the concessions, man, they took care of that very quickly and efficiently. It was pretty impressive. And Evan and his crew went out there and finished it up. Got the huddle camera, the Pixlock camera off. There's a lot of stuff going on. We still have speakers up there looking for a lift or whatever, but for the most part, everything's out. Everybody did a great job, and I was impressed. We got a lot going on last month. Transportation-wise, I have on here just trying to figure out how to get middle school track from the middle school to the high school. Working on that, using white buses when white buses are available. We got Berta and Crystal that offered to go. I think they have to make 2 or 3 runs to get all the kids up here so the coaches can come up. But we got it hammered out for this week. It'll just be a working process with Robert coaching golf and being out of the equation makes things a little bit more tricky, but everybody's trying to pitch in and doing a good job. As far as activities, some of this you already know. We had 3 BL conference selections on Monday. And I don't have everybody on here, so I'm not going to say who they are. I'll get them later. We did have some players on there. I apologize for that. We had the Southern B meeting Tuesday before the divisional tournament. I've attached that on there. If you want to look through there and ask me some questions, go ahead. But that was a couple hours worth of stuff. I'll answer whatever questions you have there. Then, of course, there was divisional basketball in Billings on the 4th through the 7th. Our girls participated in that. We had an AAU wrestling meet here on Saturday on the 14th. Golf and track at the high school started on the 16th. We started the concessions and stadium cleanup last Monday. At the middle school, track started on the 18th. We're going to have Winter Sports Awards this Thursday in the auditorium at 6 p.m. at 26th, just like we did for the winter sports. Middle school scheduling meeting. I went to a scheduling meeting on last Wednesday, the 18th. We talked about middle school football, volleyball, cross country, boys and girls basketball, and wrestling. So I feel real good about going into summer that our schedules will be a lot more tighter and have a better idea of what we're doing. Happy about that. Still working on those things. Looking into a scoreboard, maybe a sound system for the stadium. Those things may or may not be included in the stadium. Kind of looking at what that looks like and maybe some other areas. As far as activities at the high school, FFA district contest was in Roundup on the Friday the 20th. There was speaking. I should have went. Parliamentary procedures, star green head, and employment skills. And then at the high school, we had academic Olympics in Miles City on Tuesday the 3rd. And then at the high school, FFA had another district contest in Huntley on Friday the 6th. Agronomy, ag sales, and FBM. We had 16 students qualify for state in Great Falls, which is the 31st. BPA, State Leadership Conference in Billings, was the 8th through the 10th. Brand Moline qualified for nationals in Nashville. Congratulations. FCCLA State Conference was in Bozeman on the 19th to the 20th. And we had prom at CPRD here the other day, and that went very well, I thought. At the middle school, we had Academic Olympics in Miles City on Monday the 2nd. The play on the 10th, Tuesday. I was able to go, but I heard everything was great, very good production. And then the spring concert was Tuesday the 14th. So,
What is the look more earnestly into mirroring what Class C does for all conference?
Okay, so they were talking about, is it on the second page? As I remember, it has the number of kids, I believe, that are all conference. I think Class C has more all conference kids than Class B, so they were talking about whether they wanted to adopt that.
Okay.
Good. Anything else? Okay. All right. 9.01, technology.
All right, this one will be a little bit longer than my normal ones. Not because I'm going to read through all of it, that's just a summary for everybody to look at, my highlights. But I first want to say this is my last board meeting, unless you guys want to throw in a special one next week just for fun, I can come to. But this is my last one. The time has come. Next Thursday will be my last day. So it's not a trick. It actually is happening on April 2nd. So I really appreciate the district and the board when you guys hired me almost 3 years ago. I appreciate the district that I came in to an interesting situation, but I always felt like I had the full trust and support of the board and the central office team. It's been great to work with the principals and the admin staff and get to know the teachers. And leaving was a really hard decision for me. But I just appreciate that there was just always a full trust, and it made my job a lot easier that I could just jump in and fix things and get it done. Scott one time asked me months ago, he said, "Evan, what do you do? Does anybody know what you do?" I said, "Actually, I'm just plugging holes in the ship." And he said, "Yeah, but at some point it's going to stabilize, and then maybe we should know what you're doing." I said, "Yeah, that's fair." But it was like the first 2 years was just patching holes. Like, nobody cared what I was doing, just as long as things were working. It was happening. So I appreciate that. And I wanted to highlight, when I was looking at tickets today, I got my normal just ticket update and rates. Just it helps me see that my team is keeping a pretty good closure rate for any given month. But I thought I'd look back through the system and see lifetime, because at least with IT, the case was not being used for IT tickets until like my second month, when I saw, hey, that's a ticket system. I should be using it instead of email like we were doing before. And so this is a credit to the entire team. My first team that was here, summer help that's come, and the current team that's here. Since we started using Case back in, I think it was maybe October of 23 when we really started kicking into it, we've had a total from today until then, 5,791 tickets that have come into Case. And including the tickets that we've closed this month, we've closed 5,682 tickets. And that's a lot of tickets, you know. So I think that's just a testament to the tech team being willing to take the extra time to document the tickets, always making them go back and I'll reopen a ticket if they don't put enough information in it, or just make sure it's assigned and has all the information there so that there's information for reports. It helps us sometimes to go back and look at more tickets, but it's a good foundation for a tech team to document what they're doing. And then it can help answer Scott's question of, what do you do? Well, we look at Case for one. But that's a lot, 5,700 tickets, almost 6,000 tickets. Now this part is for real business. E-rate. Well, actually, no, I need to step back. Thank you for hiring a tech supervisor. before I leave. I didn't think it was actually going to be possible, even with the lead. So I thank Scott and the central office team for recruiting and putting stuff out there. I think Bart and Scott were on the interview, and I just trust their pick. You know, it's something I prayed for, something that I can just slide right into. And I don't know, it might be the first time in a long time that we have a staff transition where somebody has just a little bit of time to actually transition some things to the next person. So that's unheard of, I mean, especially at this time of the year. So I really appreciate the extra busy work to everything else extra busy that was going on to fit this role. Because, I mean, when I came, we were without a tech supervisor for almost 6 months, maybe 9 months. So, I mean, this is huge to help transition and start Peyton off strong tomorrow. We're going to be doing a lot of walking, Peyton, tomorrow. So thank you for that. It's been a really great time, and I love working for the school. So now to real business, just to keep the board up to date, nothing you have to do tonight. But there are 3 E-rate bids that have been put out, and I've listed them in order of importance. And so this is something I'll bring Peyton up to speed, and just a little heads up for Scott and Brittany, we do need to have an E-rate bid committee, at least 3 people on board. You know, maybe Scott, Brittany, maybe you to give some insight to the financials, but that's just part of the E-rate rules to have a fair and impartial judging. The highest criteria for awarding an E-rate is going to be price, but then we look at, did the vendors bid something that will actually work with our system? Sometimes, surprisingly, a vendor will just throw something out there and cannot possibly work with what the RFP was, but they do it, we have to look at it. And so that's something that will come up. It doesn't have to happen before I leave, but it might be helpful if we just kick it off while I'm here to transfer some of that knowledge. But the first one is for the internet service. That is going to be for a 3-year term. That would start July 1. And once we award the bid, whoever it is, this new E-rate proposal will allow us to move the internet communication hub from Frank Bratton. I tried to do that last year, and our E-rate consultant said, you can't do that. You violate E-rate, the government's going to come after you, you're going to have to pay back E-rate. I said, that's insane. What are you talking about? She said, nobody's ever told me that you might want to move your hub. And according to the request for bid, it specifically said that that hub had to be at Frank Bratton. So we have adjusted that. She went back and we got out of a 3-year term that we started last year, shortened it to a 1-year term, so we can start again now. And either this summer or whenever the school's ready, we can legally move that hub and not jeopardize our E-rate funding. So that would start July 1, and I'll look at the details if once we award the E-rate, if we could start that move ahead of time, but we might have to legally wait until July 1 to move that. Just the internet hub, it has nothing to do with the phones, okay? So that's a cool thing that now that's open till we can do it. And I would still recommend that we try that this summer if there's time, even though Frank Bratton's not closing down this next school year. It's still a great thing to get the internet hub first, maybe do the phones. That's going to be more disruptive to the district. So that would be a great summer project, but we have to have the internet moved to the high school first before that phone project can happen. The second one is I recommended an E-rate for our network switches. It's not a necessarily critical thing, but it's a manufacturer recommendation to swap out those switches. We do have a few network switches that are really old and should be updated. If we update a few, we should update all of them just to keep the system stable. So I'd recommend that, and that's on the ticket. And the very last one is the UPS battery backup units. We have 21 of those around the district. I have learned over the last 3 years that that is a critical, I think there's a federal law that requires us to have those in certain locations, because if the power goes out, if we lose phone or communication, and one of those spots that we lost communication didn't have a battery backup for some amount of time. I forget what code that is, but it's part of the federal, just like a federal safety plan, that you have to have backup power to keep your phones running as long as you can, and possibly your internet going. So we're in a pretty good spot. Those units are still running, but this is more of a manufacturer recommendation to update them. But those are the importance. The internet, obviously, we have to do. Network switches would be really great to do. UPS, if you didn't want to spend the money, maybe next summer, try it again, so that it's not a super critical one. Any questions on that, E-rate? That's just a heads up, that would come to you later for any final approval. And again, E-rate, if you don't know, E-rate, once it's approved, the government, the FCC E-rate program will cover 70% of the total cost, and the district picks up 30%. So it's a really cool program. And actually, it was talked about possibly going away this last summer. There was some move at the federal Congress that it was on the chopping block, but it passed, which is a good thing for us because it's a big help for human services. And then part of the pass down, this is another thing I thought was cool. So this is not business, this is just a little thing that I'm bragging on my team, is that when I got here, there was very little documentation outside of spreadsheets that were mostly like handwritten notes in spreadsheet form. They were helpful, but not great. So I started a knowledge-based article project my first year, and me and the team, we've written 354 separate Google documents that are formatted well with the intention of anybody with a little bit of technical knowledge can pick that up. And I wrote it in specifically, like even a principal or superintendent can pick it up and maybe not understand everything, but okay, this is what that thing is, like whatever, like our camera system. There's a knowledge-based article for what is the camera system? How do you get into the camera system? Who has access to the camera system? How do you pull a camera file? How do you download? All that basic stuff is just a simple 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where you go. So that's something that will help Peyton and the team going forward. But that's a lot, 354 documents that we've written with the express purpose of what if something happens to me, how do we make sure that knowledge isn't lost? It's a lot of knowledge. Maybe it won't be read all the time after I'm gone, but it's helpful to have that as a backup, and somebody can search Google Drive and hopefully catch it by a keyword or some other like brand or model or whatever. But again, thank you for the time being here, and I'll be with you all the way until the 2nd.
Thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for the district and all the holes you've patched.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, I actually got to work with Evan as a teacher, and just the amount of support that you have for the teachers, it made it so much easier. I put in a ticket and I'd be like, I could make this work for a week, and he would be there, it resolved by the afternoon or by the next day. And I was like, this is so crazy. This is so effective. It's so efficient. So
Thanks, Francis.
yeah, as an educator, that was awesome.
I remember when you first started, nobody could print. People were having their spouses come in and like try to help work on their computers after hours and stuff. And now like you talk about tech department and it's only great things. So I appreciate the turnaround that you gave our district.
Thanks.
We wish you well.
All right. Thank you.
Or not, and
Sort of. Sort of.
was there any policy that we needed to, anyone want to bring up? Was it the work session?
Oh, I did skip over that, didn't I? I don't know. Do you guys have anything on policy that you want to bring up? No? What about communication?
I think our only thing, I asked Scott about calendar and he emailed me back a response that there was gonna be some more updates soon, so.
Okay.
He'll get that kind of pushed out to the team, and that was our only main communication piece.
Okay.
When does that have to be approved by the board?
April.
Okay.
Got a meeting Wednesday. We did some revisions. I thought we were probably about done. My last calendar committee meeting, I think, was in January. And I talked to Connie about maybe getting the classified jobs by department, like how they would fit into a 4-day week. Because that was really after the survey where we're at, if you remember, like 75% of all the different people that were surveyed were in favor of that. So we're focusing on that, getting 2 different calendars ready. One was the hybrid, one was the traditional 4-day. And so then I caught some things 2 weeks ago. So we were working on that. And then I thought it was done. I got it out to Connie and Brandy. And then I realized, no, those things didn't get done. I grabbed Connie Friday morning. We talked a little bit about it, and she said, well, I'd actually rather have that calendar all finished. So we worked on getting that all finished with the hours and minutes and everything, so that they have that to look at to kind of work around that. So then what I want to do Wednesday night is just one more time go through the calendar committee with, you know, where we're at, how that all ended up with the beginning hours and minutes. I think we had we were really close the last time they saw it, and when I pushed it out, so to the union. So just kind of those last touches so they can look at it and get the last input. So then Connie will take that. I know when I got here, I heard, well, the 4D was looked at, but when it came to the board, a lot of those things, especially classified's tricky, right? When it comes to the 4D week, weren't worked out. So we started talking about that procedure, I don't know, maybe November, December, just kind of to have them be thinking. And I know they have been about how their different, like from Stephanie, how food services work and, you know, custodial, all that kind of stuff. So I know there's been a lot of discussions around that. So they'll get that calendar and then they'll be ready to do their thing and we'll talk and we'll get it to you guys.
Yeah, the classified really let the calendar narrow down so that we know exactly what the hours would be and what we can work into our schedules.
Brandy, do you have anything else?
I think that was our main one, and like I said, Scott emailed me back about it, and,
Okay.
pretty much the other thing, I mean, we met last week and we discussed insurance, as a kind of thing, Georgie. As of like, we have to have this done by Monday, and then we, just had the questions about the calendar, so, yeah. We try to touch base, as soon as we have any kind of questions come up ahead of time, but that was the main thing that affects communication for everyone, so.
Admin team, do you have anything? No? Okay, Mr. O?
No, that was kind of where we're at. The big last meeting with the calendar committee should be ready soon.
Okay, all right. Meeting adjourned.